Hey everybody, this is Stan Wangland and welcome to Just Thinking. It's March 11th, 2022, and man, a whole bunch of stuff is going on in the world as always, but some really big stuff, with inflation, stuff in the Ukraine, all kinds of things all over the world, in Yemen, the Middle East, you know, Putin and Russia, politics in the United States, NATO, excuse me, all kinds of things, and they're fascinating. There's a lot of funny stuff that's going on also, but I don't think that most people are ready for that yet. Although I am. My goodness gracious, I have so many funny ideas and shows and stuff that I've done on my other podcasts and networks, or just in my own personality. I'm not always this somber, but it's a period in time right now that boy, there's some big deals going on out there. And one of the things that I was thinking about is as I look through Twitter and Facebook, and I go on YouTube and check all the podcasts out that I'm interested in, on social media, because that's something I have a great interest in, as well as do a lot of research and documentaries and alternate opinions from people who don't agree with me. One of the things that you see just horrifically, and I try and put in the little psychology affirmations and tips and everything like that. I don't want to be negative, but on the other hand, I try to point out some kind of factors that human beings have a tendency to do that aren't so great. But we're tribal creatures. We want to stick together. We group things as they relate to us. And one of the things that's happening in our culture right now is, I've mentioned this several times before, and it's really at a critical overload, is that people don't have gradations or a wide variety of compartments to put other people in. Well, this guy's pretty good, he's a little bit to the center, this guy's a little bit this gal's a little bit whatever it is. People are right now, they're very polarized. They do things on the extremes in a great many times. That's where you get these knee-jerk reactions that doesn't stay to the center. It goes boom, right out to the extremes that we have. And one of those knee-jerk reactions and ways of perceiving things that we have, other than just being tribal, and it's a spin-off, I think, or a correlate to being tribal, is that how your culture, how your tribe views the other elements of the world around them. And I don't think a lot of people are very aware of what's happened to them, that their perceptions. I've had this happen to me, and I'm trained in this and seen it with other people, where we look at the world, those people who are for us and those people who are against us. That I'll never forget. I once had a director of a program when I was first starting out in administration. He said, "Well, if you're not for me, you're agin me." And he said "agin me" like he was, from the Ozarks or something. It's like, the hell are you, from, the Civil War or something like that? What are you talking about? If I'm not for you, I'm against you. I'm neither for nor against you. We here are working together. We're a team. It's not about me. It's about we. We're all for one another. We're for achieving the goals. Uh, you know, making sure everybody gets a break. There's a win-win situation, all that kind of stuff. These are values that I was trained in as a psychologist, and by outstanding team builders and leaders from people from Harvard University, from different schools of business all over the country, from Stanford, just from everywhere. That particularly when I worked for New York State, we would have very, very high level management training, and really have some of the best people in the world that would come in, and we had quite an extensive budget to get good training on managing change and strategic change and the cultures of organizations, and how to make people work effectively and efficiently, how to have people work together in difficult situations. Um, what does this have to do with tribalism? Is to break out of that tribalism and have a vision statement, have a mission statement, have very specific steps and plans and measurable ways to achieve things, to identify things the way they were, and to entertain different ideas from people, not to shut people down or pigeonhole people or alienate people. And that's the point of what I see happening now. And it could be in the Ukraine, it could be in the General Assembly, it could be in politics. I'm just looking at my Twitter account here, which I post some of these things on Twitter. And here's the number one thing trending in politics: the party of treason. With the GOP, with the Republicans. In my 71 years since I've started voting, I voted for Republicans, I voted for Democrats, I voted for independents. I think at some points in my life I was more Republican than I was a Democrat. Other points in my life I was very, very much a Democrat in the FDR kinds of ways. No, I'm not talking about some left winger or something. No, I really admire Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I really admire Ronald Reagan, although my wife wants to choke the shit out of me all the time for that. So, there were different traits that I saw with people. But again, here now, we're in a situation where people, if it's you're for me or against me, you know, uh, these crazy tribal kinds of things. And we're breaking down even the most simple relationships with people in terms of you're either a victim or you're an oppressor. Forget about the tribe. Now it's gone to you're a victim and you're an oppressor. So if you were spending hundreds of millions of dollars into billions in helping the Ukraine, uh, President Zelensky, I did a show on this, and rightly so. He's desperate, for different things. He's saying, hey, I appreciate all the aid and everything. Now he's saying that, but he's trying to shame and guilt countries to make other decisions when that may not be in our best interest or the best interests of the world at large to do certain things. And you get that polarization, and you get that victims and oppressor mentality. And when you look at these complex situations, they're really not that simple. They are on the surface. I mean, it's very simple with the Ukraine. It's an independent country, for example, and somebody comes in and aggresses against it, and that's just wrong. Period. But there are other factors that lead into that. And if we want to solve problems, if we want to have long-term solutions to things, we're going to have to get better at just not getting into just the pure politics of a situation. When we're in it, we have to be very smart. We have to be very mature, and it has to do like with shows that I've done before. It's like being a cognitive behavioral therapist, man. You better understand the world the way that it is, what your needs are, what your wants are, what your survival needs are, and what it is of the people who are your opponents or people who are at odds with you. Whether it be a political party or whatever, there has to be listening. There has to be. You don't have to agree with anybody, but you have to understand where they're coming from, and not put yourself in the role just because you don't like what somebody has to say, or you don't like what somebody did in history, or you don't like what somebody did 40 years ago and you have a picture of it. You can't make that person into an oppressor, into an evil person. Sometimes that is the case, but you just can't do it matter of hand. It's not a very wise thing to do. What am I advocating in this show today? With one another, with things like is the GOP the party of treason, or are the Democrats all libtards and all this other kind of stuff? None of that stuff is true. There are elements of truth into that. You got people on the extremes who do crazy things, to the perception of the people who are more towards the center. And then people on the extremes think that people in the center say, "What, you don't see how important this is?" You know, but it doesn't have to be victims and oppressors. It doesn't have to be to the death. It shouldn't for people, if they want to have if they want to have a team, if they want to have a win-win for everybody. That's not the way to go. There's a nice saying that I always think of when I get in situations like this, on a personal level, that the bridge you burn now may be the one you later have to cross. And my father, he was a very wise man, and he would always say, Stan, in life, birds fly high, but they all got to come down for a drink of water. The hell does that mean, weed hopper? It's pretty darn clear. You may be flying high today, but you got to get your needs met too. You're going to come down, and you may have to be that bridge you burned may be the one you later need to cross. or my dad would say on the ladder of success, saying the same people you see going on the way up or crawling over you or coming back down over your back. You're going to see them going up. Same ones are going to be coming back down. And that's true. Every dog has their day, that kind of thing. Yeah, are there exceptions to those things? Yeah. But what does this do? This gives us in life a sense of perspective, a sense of well-being, a sense of good spirit towards other. That even though the teapot may be boiling and whistling, and it's all troubled and roiled, it's also singing. There's also some good things. In every crisis, there's an opportunity. Every person who is your enemy right now, by exercising some intelligence and some care and some firmness and some good, moral values and common sense and training and critical thinking, you don't have to burn all these bridges so that you can't cross them later. This is my point with my show yesterday on, no-fly zones and, provoking people to boxing them in to where there's no escape. In the art of war, I always mention it. Always leave a desperate enemy a means of escape. Leave them an off-ramp. You should know what your off-ramp is. Before you start something like this, or different things in life. So, victims and oppressors, we need to get out of that. Burning bridges, never a good thing. Even with an enemy, even with somebody that you have to set an absolute limit, you always have to be wise in a strategic way and a long-term way that, of course, takes care of your best interests as well as those, of your friends and allies, or the appropriate people, and setting a limit in the healthiest of ways that you're capable of with other people. So that's my show for today. I don't know how many people will do that. I think that a lot of people are ready, though, to give up some of this, and a lot of people aren't. And that's where we get the cancel cultures, the woke movements, these deniers, conspiracy theories. These are people who are unwilling to not view themselves as being victims or other people as being oppressors and burning bridges with other people. So I'm suggesting that we don't do that. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you did, hit the like button, subscribe button, and we'll be moving to some different platforms in the near future. Like I told you, we want to do about 50 shows first. So we're about halfway there, and I'm very pleased. We have a smattering of some very popular shows, given that we have a very limited test audience here, for different things. And I'm very satisfied with, how many thousand engagements I get, how many views I get per that, or whatever, and, gives a different inkling of how things are doing with the analytics. So I hope you're enjoying the shows. And I sure am, and it's nice to build something up from the ground floor again. It's been fun. So again, you guys have a nice day, and I appreciate the support, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.